This video is going over the test review for two-dimensional figures. The first three questions have to do with this square that you're given. The first question asks, how much fringe would be needed to go around the rug? So there's your key word, around. So we're finding perimeter. We know that a square has 4 equal sides, and they told us it was a square above in the question. So I know that all 4 sides must have a side length of 3.2 meters. So if I want to find the perimeter of a square, there's not a formula for that on our formula chart. But we know perimeter is the distance around, so adding up all 4 sides. Or for a square, you can simply take 3.2 and multiply it by 4 rather than adding it 4 times. There you get an answer of 12.8. Because this is just perimeter and not area, our label would just be meters. The second question asks, how many square meters, meaning meters squared? And we know that if our exponent is to the second power, that we have, we're being asked a question about area. Another key word here is space. We want to know how much space does the rug take up. So if we were to lay this rug on the floor, how much area is it taking up? For a square, our area is base times height, just like a rectangle. So 3.2 times 3.2, which comes out to 10.24. And because we have area this time, it's meters squared. So don't forget about your labeling. Number 3, Mary Lou needs to cut a piece of glass for her table. The table is in the shape of a regular hexagon, so all 6 sides are congruent. A hexagon has 6 sides, and because it's a regular hexagon, they're even letting us know that all 6 of those sides are congruent. The glass should measure 1.5 feet on each side. What is the perimeter of this piece of glass? If it helps you to see, you can draw yourself a little sketch of this hexagon, 6 sides. So we have 1.5 feet or 1.5 feet for all 6 sides. So distance around, perimeter, we're going to add every single piece. Or because they're all the same length, we can go ahead and take 1.5 and multiply it by 6 to find its perimeter. That comes out to 9 feet. Number 4. A farmer knows the length and width of his rectangular pasture. I'm just going to draw our pasture, and we know that he knows his length and width. He also knows how many pounds of fertilizer to spread per square yard. What additional information does the farmer need to know in order to determine the number of bags of fertilizer he should buy? So he knows how many pounds of fertilizer will cover each little square yard. So he knows how much of that. But what we're trying to figure out is what else do we need to know if he needs to figure out how many actual bags he needs to buy. Answer choice A says the type of grass in his pasture. The type of grass that he's growing is not going to affect how many bags he needs to buy. The number of bags of fertilizer his truck will hold. Well, again, I don't think that his truck is going to have anything to do with how many bags that he needs to buy. He could always go back and get another truckload if he needed to. The price of each bag, well, nowhere in this question is it asking us anything to do with price. It's not asking us to find the price for him to fertilize his yard or his garden. So the price is definitely not an answer choice that we want to look for. The number of pounds of fertilizer in each bag. That's going to be our answer choice because we know how many pounds he's going to need because it tells us he knows how many pounds of fertilizer per square yard. We just need to know how many pounds are in each bag to help us figure out how many bags he would need to buy. This is a question that appeared on the 7th grade tax test several years ago. So this might give you an idea of a way that the STAR test might try to test you on your knowledge of perimeter and area. Number 5, find the area of the shaded region below. So even though we know it's not all shaded, let's pretend for just a second that everything is shaded. Let's pretend that our whole rectangle is shaded. if that was the case, my area for a rectangle is base times height. So my area would be 10 times 6, which is 60. But again, we know that that whole piece was not shaded. There was a whole circle that was not shaded. So I need to subtract the area of that circle because I don't want its area included because it's not shaded. Now, I know you're looking at this and you're probably thinking, well, they didn't give me any information for the circle. Well, that's not true. If the side length of this rectangle is 6, that means the side length is 6 all the way throughout the rectangle. It means my diameter of my circle is 6. So if my diameter is 6, my radius would be half of that, which is 3. The formula for the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. Or if it helps you to think about it as pi times the radius again. So we have, oh, and they want us to use just 3 for pi here. We don't need to use 3.14. So 3 times my radius of 3 times my radius of 3 again. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So I know my circle has an area of 27. So the last step needed to do is to take the area of the whole rectangle and subtract the area from the circle to let you know what you have left that's actually shaded. And that comes out to 33 because it's area centimeters squared. Number 6, Marissa is working on a project for Texas history in which she's using poster board in the shape of a rectangle and a half circle. She's going to use ribbon to border, so we're going around to border this poster with ribbon. How many inches of ribbon will she need in all? So we know we're doing perimeter, not area, because we're just doing the border. So this is one of the composite figures. We're going to have to break this into 2 separate pieces. I have a rectangle, 18 and 18 on each side, so I know I'm going to need that much ribbon. 18 for each side, and then 20 for the bottom of the rectangle. And then I need to find how much ribbon is going to need to go around my half circle up top. Well, we don't have a formula for a half circle circumference, so we're going to have to find the circumference of the whole circle, and then we can just divide it by 2 to find half of it. Again, if my bottom of my rectangle is 20, my top of my rectangle is 20, making my diameter of my circle 10. Well, half of that would be my radius. Oh, sorry, my diameter was 20, making my radius half of that, which is 10. So circumference, I have 2 formulas. I have 2 pi r or pi diameter. You can choose to use whichever one you want. I'm going to go and use pi diameter since I have the diameter. So circumference is equal to pi, and they told us here in the problem just to use 3 for pi, times my diameter of 20. 3 times 20 is 60. So the circumference of the circle is 60. Now remember, we don't have a whole circle. We only have a half of a circle. So I need to take half of 60, which is 30. So 30 is the distance around I'm going to need for ribbon for the top piece of my poster board. So I need to add that over here to my list of things to add up for how much ribbon will be needed. When you add all these values, you get an answer of 86 inches. It's not area, it's just perimeter. All I'm calculating is how much ribbon was needed to go around the poster board. Number 7, you guys had a question like this on your pop quiz. A triangle has an area, A triangle has an area of 8 centimeters squared. Find the height if the triangle has a base length of 8. So my volume for the area of a triangle is 1/2, or sorry, the formula for the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height equals the area. Well, they gave us area, so my A is 8, 1/2, or if you prefer, we can just use the value of 0.5 times the base. Well, the base has a length of 8 times the height. That's the piece that we're solving for. 1/2 of 8, 1/2 times 8 is 4. So 4 times the height is equal to 8. So I want to know what value, what height times 4 would give me a total area of 8. And when you divide that out and when you solve for that, your height is equal to 2. So in this problem, you're kind of working backwards. You're given the area, and you were solving for one of the dimensions. All right, which equation could Peter use to find P, the perimeter of the trapezoid? Remember, perimeter is the distance all the way around. I see this congruent mark, 5 inches, which means the left side must be 5 inches. So perimeter would be my distance around. So I'm just going to go over and color the pieces I would need for perimeter around. So I do not need that 4. I'm going to even cross it out so it's not there to confuse me. So if I was going around, I would need 8, 5, 14, and another 5. Just adding them. Answer choice A, that's the multiplication sign. I don't want to multiply 8 times 14. Answer choice B, 8, 14 plus 2 times 5. That just means 2 5s. So basically that's like saying 5 plus another 5. That one looks like it's going to work. 8 plus 14 times 4 divided by 2? No, that's not going to work. That's area of a trapezoid. 8, 5, 14, and 4? No, we said we didn't want to use the 4. That was in the inside of our trapezoid. So my answer choice here is B. Now, the next question does say to find the area of the trapezoid. So now I need that 4 because I have to have the height. Formula for area of a trapezoid. Base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. Fill it in. My base is 8 plus 14, and you have to do it in this order, times the height of 4 divided by 2. When you calculate that out, you get a total area of 44 inches squared. Mrs. Penn has a circular tablecloth with a circumference of 29. So they're telling us the circumference is equal to 29. Which expression could be used to find the radius? So I want to find the radius when given circumference. My formula for circumference with radius is circumference is equal to 2 times pi times r. Well, we know our circumference is 29. They gave us that in the problem. 29 is equal to 2 times pi times r. Now remember, this r is the piece that we're solving for. So going back to when we learned how to solve equations and isolate our variable, I want to get r all by itself. I want to know the value of r. So the way that I get rid of the 2 pi, the opposite of multiplying by 2 pi is to divide both sides by 2 pi. If I divide both of those sides by 2 pi, this has canceled out. So I'm left with just my r, which is exactly what I want. So the value of r would be equal to 29 divided by 2 pi. Let's look to see if we have an answer choice like that. 29 minus 2 pi? No. 29 divided by 2 pi? Yes. 29 divided by pi? No, we need 2 pi. 29 plus 2 pi? No. So there's my answer choice, letter B. A lot of times for questions like this, it will help if you do the problem yourself, like I did, and then look at your answer choices. If you start looking at your answer choices right away, it's very likely you're going to get confused and you're going to be distracted by those wrong answers. Mrs. Dickens wants to paint a wall, but not the door. How many square feet, so there's another hint that we're finding area, feet squared, of wall does Mrs. Dickens need to paint? So let's again pretend for just a minute that we are painting the whole wall. Let's pretend the whole thing is shaded. So I have a rectangle, 10 by 15, area base times height, 10 times 15 gives me a total area of 150. But we know we don't want to paint that whole area. We want to not paint the wall, or I'm sorry, the door. The door has an area of 7 times 3, which is 21. So 21 of that wall we do not want to paint. So I'm going to subtract it from the 150, leaving me a total area to actually paint of 129 square feet. Which of the following cannot be used to find the perimeter of a square with side length s? Square, all four sides are equal, s, 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 s. Which one of these cannot be used to find perimeter? S plus S plus S plus S? Yes, that one would work to find perimeter. Remember, I'm looking for the one that could not. So that one's not my answer. I'm looking for the one that won't work. 2 S's plus 2 more S's? Yes, because I have 2 S's plus 2 more S's. That covers my perimeter. So that would work, meaning it's not my answer choice. 4S? Yes, that would work. I have 4 S's. S times S? No, that would be area formula. And I am looking for the one that's not going to work. So that would be the correct answer for this question. Be really careful with those questions that say things like cannot and not. Here I drew a circle with a radius of 20. So I'm going to draw a radius of 20. And another circle with a radius of 10. What is the difference between the areas of those two circles? So I'm finding area. Area is equal to pi r squared. Area is equal to pi r squared. And here they said we can just use 3 for pi. So 3 times radius 20 squared. 3 times radius 100 squared. 10 squared is 100. 3 times 100 is 300. 20 squared. 20 times 20 is 400. 3 times 400 is 1,200. So now to find the difference between those two areas, 1,200 minus 300 gives me a difference of 900 square inches in those two circles areas. Find the perimeter of the figure below. Perimeter is the distance around. So I'm going to make a list of all the numbers I need to add. 1, 1.8, 3, 0.5, 2. If you look at your figure, you'll see there's a number that we've left out. There's a value we have not found yet. They did not give us that information for that length, but we can figure it out. If we know this whole side has to be 1.8, and this piece over here is already 1/2, I can subtract to find the difference for what this remaining side must be. So 1.8 minus 0.5 is 1.3. So this missing side length must be 1.3. Now I have all the values that I can add up to find the perimeter of the whole composite figure. When you add that up, you get a total answer of 9.6 centimeters. Don't forget, there are going to be pieces on problems that they don't directly give you. They did not directly give us this length of 1.3, but they did give us enough information that we were able to solve for it ourselves. Find the area of the shaded region. So again, let's just pretend for just a minute that this whole figure is shaded. So if I want to find the area of the whole shaded region, I have a rectangle that's 16 by 8. 16 times 8 is 128. Now, we know it's not all shaded. I have 2 pieces that aren't. I have 2 rectangles. 5 by 4 is 20, giving me an area of 20. 5 times 4 is 20, another area of 20. So really, 20 plus 20 gives me an area of 40 that is not shaded. So I need to take 40 away from 128, which leaves me with a total area of 88 feet squared that is shaded. Last question. The pizza below has a diameter of 12 inches. Using 3.14 for pi, find the circumference and area. So I know I have diameter of 12, which means my radius is half of that, which would be 6. So let's go ahead and find circumference first. Circumference, I have 2 formulas. I'm just going to choose to use pi d. So they do want us to use 3.14 here. 3.14 times diameter of 12 will give me my circumference, the distance around this pizza. The circumference here, when you multiply out, comes out to 37.68 inches. The area formula. Area, looking at your formula chart, is equal to pi times the radius squared. Pi is 3.14. My radius here is 6 squared. 6 squared has a value of 36. 6 times 6. So really what I'm taking is multiplying 3.14 times 36, which comes out to 113.04. So the area of my pizza is 113.04 squared inches. Be really careful. I was able to use the diameter for my circumference part of the question, but I have to have the radius when I'm finding the area of a circle. Good luck on your test.